So how you doing, Pippa?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Mike?
I am well. Uh, this interview's been a long time coming. We've been talking about it for a long time and finally got a chance to do it.
That we have been talking about it, so anything could happen and probably will, and I think that's all that is definite here.
Right. Uh, so let's start. First of all, thanks for sitting down and doing this. I know you've got better stuff to do probably on your day off, but you're just that kind of person where you're willing to sit down and talk and help people out, and that's a great thing about you.
Thank you. I do it anything for people who want to keep it real, and obviously you keep it real here. And that's why I always call you the real vaping trucker.
I try to. So outside of vaping, what do you like to do? Do you got any other hobbies or interests?
Probably very little, to be honest. I did try picking up my guitar, believe it or not, for the first time in a couple of years, a short while ago. I've, believe it or not, even attempted to have some fun trying to do some karaoke in the last couple of weeks. God help anybody's ears who are anywhere near close by that of those attempts. Look, other than that, no. Yeah, this is what I do. This is what I enjoy.
uh, how long did you smoke?
I smoked for well over 25 years. Look, I had my first cigarette, if you like, independently. Oh God, probably I would have been at least 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, 12 years old, and yeah, remember having my little packet of cigarettes that I could buy legally when I was 12 years old. No, actually, I think I bought them illegally, but unbeknownst to them, yeah. They didn't kind of care back then. It's like, yeah, whatever. That I'm probably buying it for my grandmother or whoever,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah, so I could buy my own cigarettes, no problem at all back then.
Uh, so what made you change over to vaping, and how long ago was that been?
All right, so I changed over to vaping, God, approximately about 3.5 years ago. And so what had basically happened is I would been on HRT for 5.5 years, about that. Sorry, at that point I'd been on HRT for about 2 years. Now, the problem is with HRT, if you're smoking on HRT, there's a massive risk of blood clotting. So the chance of me, getting a clot in the brain, heart, wherever it is, it's never a good situation to be in, I guess. And so I needed to stop smoking. And my doctor, who had asked me to stop smoking on a number of occasions, obviously to avoid this risk, had given me Champex and obviously all the advice, and given me patches and all this other stuff that didn't work, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I had tried a Cigalite. I had tried a Cigalite, and I keep them for old time's sakes. I keep them not far away just to remind me of my first little Cigalite. That's out of battery. But situation normal was shit like that, and it didn't contain any nicotine, and it didn't get me to switch. And I tried that early in the piece, and I just thought, I might just try and revisit it and this vaping thing, a couple of years on, when there was a lot better technology also. And yeah, so that's what got me to switch vaping. I was basically a need to stop smoking. Financially, it wasn't good either. Financially, just keep smoking wasn't a good idea. So yeah, that's what put me in the right direction. I don't know if you've ever had one of the sprays or inhalers. I'll show you. So what I'll do, just to protect your channel, I'll try and cover any branding so we can't. But I think we're all pretty familiar with this type of inhaler type of thing, right?
Right.
I don't know, can't remember how to get the thing off now. Oh, that's it. They sort of click up and you're meant to pump spray that shit. Ugh. Pump spray that shit in your mouth, right? See this thing? That nearly fucking killed me. Seriously, it nearly killed me. I sprayed that in my airway, not realising that it wasn't what you were meant to do. I think it's meant to spray it in your tongue. Anyway, and sort of stopped breathing and gagging and swerved off to the side of the road, and thankfully I stopped there at the side of the road. Thankfully I wasn't going too fast because that nearly cost me my life. How ironic would have that been?
Right. Wow.
So that was, I tried hypnotherapy, I tried acupuncture, and none of that shit worked. And thankfully,
worked. So what kind of a device was it that you picked up that finally you said, well, maybe this will work, or you felt like that was going to work for you?
Yeah, it was a good work colleague actually. At the time, had a. Well, I was being inquisitive to try one of the newer vaping thingies, as I knew them back then as, that somebody that I'd seen a few people with. And I've been inquisitive, and I was actually talking to a good friend of work, and he had a Spire Odyssey with a Nautilus tank on it. See, you can still remember the exact one. And you know why I know the exact one? Because I know that guy even to this day, and he vapes off exactly the same setup. Because it's so reliable for him. He doesn't want to change it. That's fair enough. But and I can understand why, because it was reliable enough, even back 3 years ago, for me to try that for the first time and go, oh shit, wow, I think I could make that work. So there you go. And then I went out and I bought, geez, I wonder if I got them handy. No. But I went out and bought an Aspire, what was known at the time as a K4 kit, which was just basically fixed 50-watt stick mod with a Cleto little sub-ohm tank on the top.
Right.
And that was direct to lung. So all of a sudden, gone from just trying a few puffs out of a Nautilus and going, yeah, I can do this, not knowing all this at the time, mind you, of going to a direct to lung Cleto, I'm like, oh shit, that didn't work. And it was just really, really hard, obviously, because mouth to lung obviously being softer than direct to lung. And to make matters worse, I didn't even realise for 2 days. It's almost embarrassing to admit, but I don't mind for other people's sakes, because I know I'm not the only person who's made this mistake. I had been vaping a concentrate, a fucking concentrate. 100% PG, this ridiculous coffee flavour which just tasted rank, hardly getting a cloud out, just trying. That's how much I wanted to stop smoking. That I was literally vaping PG intermittently for a couple of days. Obviously the bottle wasn't marked that well.
Right, right. All kinds of flavour though, right?
Yeah, not pleasant.
Yeah, I didn't say it was good. I just said there's a lot of flavor. So, how long ago did you start mixing then, and what kind of led you to start doing that?
Yeah, so literally within a few weeks, I'd say, look, from memory, I think somewhere probably between 2 to 4 weeks even after starting to vape. Once I started to vape, once I got used to that clear, once I got used to the mixes you could get. Thankfully, I had a few other friends around that did vape, and friends of family, and I was able to try a few different e-liquids, and I tried a coffee one that blew my mind. It's sort of funny because I know exactly what's in it now, and I'm thinking, shit, it's not that mind-blowing, but that's all right. Yeah, once I got going with all the different sort of flavours and understanding the flavours, I thought, well, maybe I could give this a go, but I wonder how they actually make them. I'm kind of inquisitive like that. I like to know, how do they actually make them? what is actually really the componentry of that liquid that's making us want to stop smoking? So where else do you go? Where is the fountain of knowledge in 2019? Google. So with that fountain of knowledge that is on Google, that normally takes you off to some YouTube videos, and sort of Vaping Amsterdam showed me how to make my first e-liquid, I think, with strawberry, TPA strawberry and vanilla swirl, if memory serves me correctly. And then all of a sudden there was a few other links to this other crazy guy by the name of Wayne Walker over in DIY or Die. And before you know it, I'm like, this is cool, this is awesome fun. Look at all these flavours you can get. Look at all the stuff you can do. And yes, I fell down the rabbit hole since then. And now I'm not only down the rabbit hole, I'm deep down under DIYing. So there you go.
Well, that was going to be my next question. We all know that you're down a rabbit hole. We can see it behind you. How many flavors do you got? Do you have any idea? Rough guess?
Yeah, about 1,500.
So do you still find that there's recipes that people put out that you may like to mix, but you're still missing something from?
Absolutely. You know, I was talking to a mixer earlier today on the Discord, and he has only probably been sort of mixing only for a few months, right? He's probably only got about 100 odd flavours. You know what? He had 3 flavours that I wanted to work with that I didn't have. I was like, what?
Right.
What was it? Innerwear of bubblegum, I think it was, and a couple of others anyway. Yeah, didn't have them.
So it's just hopeless. We're always going to need something.
Yeah, I think it's more of a want. I mean, to have this many flavours is a major first world problem. And I'm always of the belief of, when I talk to people about DIYing, is that all these flavours, they're not necessary, honestly. In 1,500, it's an unnecessary abundance. This is a passion. This is something I do. This is something I do for, like, literally a full-time hobby, 30 to 40 hours a week. And honestly, I think the best mixers are the ones that are the most efficient, that can get enough e-liquid concentrates that they're happy with themselves to make a mix that they can keep off the stinkies with. And if that's 5 concentrates, 10 concentrates, or 50 concentrates, and that's enough. And there's many out there that I know who I've spoken to, and that is enough. It's more than enough that they'll ever need to make the few recipes that keeps them off the stinkies. You know? So
absolutely. I was watching Aaron earlier, and, you know, he was saying on there that he's only got like 150 concentrates. But look at everything that he accomplishes from just 150 concentrates.
Exactly, yeah.
I think a lot of it, too, comes down to creativity and being able to think, well, this kind of tastes like this, and if I mix it with this, maybe it'll taste like I want it to, and you just kind of got to get the gears going.
Exactly, and I think that's what the joy mixing is all about. See, I think the more concentrates you have, the lazier the mixer you become. Because you've got a solution here, there, and everywhere almost ready-made. Almost ready-made. Of course, you've got to do a little bit of research in that. But if you've only got 100 to work with, then you've really got to extend the way you're going to think. What cream you're going to use with what bakery is going to work best with each other, with what fruit or whatever the case might be, within only 100 concentrates. It's a lot more of a challenge, and I can see why Aaron in particular is a fantastic mixer, as he works the hell out of his flavour stage.
Absolutely. Do you still do single flavor tests?
Yeah, look, predominantly I like to do single flavour tests of everything I get hold of. For me, it's the only way to clearly define a definition of flavour. I know a lot of people sometimes they'll say, well, been flavour testing for so long, I've got a fair idea where things are at. And yeah, that's true, that might be true. But for me, I like to understand the definition of flavour, meaning how defined, how refined is that flavour, what is that back note in that flavour. So I can identify it easier rather than playing a guessing game later on if I put it in a mix and thinking, oh yeah, that'll be the so-and-so, I put that in there to try and achieve this. But then you might try and repeat that in another type of profile, and it may not work. So I like to define, refine, and understand what the flavour does, at least to my palate first. Yeah. But don't get me wrong in saying that, look, I might have 1,500 odd flavour concentrates, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I know every flavour concentrate intimately, that I know them down to the last back note, because I don't think there's anyone in e-liquid creation, and God bless them if they do know all that, but look, you don't, because you have your go-tos. You have the ones you've been confident in mixing out before, and right. You go the other two type of flavourings, I think, quite a lot. So there's probably like literally a core, if you like, of about 200 to 300 that I mostly use, and the other is, fun experience, I guess.
Right. What's your favourite concentrate? Like if you could find a way to sneak it in something, you're going to sneak it in.
Look, if you ask me that tomorrow, it will change from today. I guarantee you. Oh, look, at the moment, well, that's a toughie. It's a toughie. Picking your favourite child isn't easy. Look, I'd say at the moment... Look, my favourite concentrate at the moment, I'm going to pick on a Flavours concentrate of all things. I'm going to pick on an apple filling. Because I think texturally, with a lot of dimension, from the gelatinous mouthfeel of the apple, a genuine cooked feeling, that mouthfeel, with the right balance of cinnamon, I think is absolutely amazing. It's something that I've been aware of since shortly after it came out, a long time ago, but yeah, I still really, really like that. But as I say, it could be Wonder Flavours, banana puree tomorrow. It could be Mullenberry soft banana tomorrow. Right, it was caramel. It might have been caramel butter Wonder Flavours last week.
There's a lot of good ones to just have to choose one.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like you. I couldn't pick a favorite right now. It just kind of depends on what mood I'm in, too.
I would say if there's a favourite lean-to concentrate, which I'm always kind of probably would consider, if that makes sense, in a profile, a recipe, is probably vanilla geisha by Nowera. That it's always been such a beautiful concentrate that I find that fills through the middle of a vape and helps sort of smooth and iron out a few little creases with that very slight creaminess it has, but it's just a very nice smooth hum through the middle. So there's a particular concentrate which might define my style of mixing, particularly with bakeries, etc. Yeah, it's hard for me to overlook vanilla shisha at times. That's my lean-to, where a lot of other people might lean to vanilla swirl to do a similar type of item. Yeah.
Right. Now, a lot of the times we see the same old kind of profiles. I mean, strawberries and cream over and over, or this and cream over and over. Seems like that you typically come up with different types of profiles, stuff that's a little more unique. Which I guess what I'm asking is, where do you get inspiration for those kind of recipes? Just for different stuff that people hadn't thought of yet.
I look everywhere. Look, I was at an Indian cafe only about a month ago, and I've gone, oh, what are those mint lassies? Like a mint yogurt drink, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I could do that in a vape. So I guess it's from personal life experience. I was at an Italian cafe only a couple of weeks ago. I'm catching up with the dad and a few friends, family. And Italian cafe, hello, let's go to the cake cabinet. So, it, the limited times and experiences that I get to go out, it can be a little bit painful. I sometimes have to excuse myself for about 2 or 3 minutes while I've got my brain going in overload and having to make some notes here on my little phone as I do a little brainstorming session until I can sort of maybe come home and think about how I'd put that profile together. So, yeah, look, just from life in general, there's nothing too obscure sometimes. Like, for example, last week I was at a restaurant and there was this beautiful, beautiful lychee crushed ice, and it was lychee and lemon crushed ice drink with some mint and stuff in it. And you know what? Like, through mixing, it's helped me actually learn to experience and enjoy those real life things when I go to a cafe, because I'll look at, what's at the cafe menu, what's at that gourmet ice creamery that I might not normally have ever visited, but absolutely enjoy the experience of vaping on some strawberry and balsamic ice cream. I'll go to some extraordinary different places to enjoy extraordinary different experiences. So hopefully I can translate that into a vape, and that won't always be successful, but so always putting yourself in a position of opportunity, and opportunity will come, I guess. Like last week, when I come back from this gourmet ice creamery that's run by this amazing chef, the strawberry and balsamic, I'd never done a strawberry and balsamic, never knew strawberry and balsamic was a thing. What did I do? I went home and I actually cooked myself with my little pie maker. I cut up some strawberry, got some strawberry jam, and threw in half a spoon of balsamic vinegar. And I just went, holy wow, I need to be able to make this happen. So to try and re-emulate those sort of things is not only amazing, it's nice to be challenged and challenge yourself. And not only from your own personal experiences, but I find also from those around us in the vape community. Like, for example, Fresh 03 I was talking to on a show some months ago, and he said, I really adore banana bondage. I'm going, yeah, well, so do I. He goes, no, but I really enjoy it with a coffee. And I've gone, well, yeah, so do I. He goes, yeah, but I actually enjoy creating this amazing, fun e-liquid that I enjoy banana and a coffee in the one mix. And I've gone, you're fucking mad, Fresh 03. And did I mention who that was? And I've gone, okay, maybe he's not entirely mad. It's always worth a try. And you know what? I didn't create an exact coffee and banana bondage, but I created something that was inspired by that thought, and it was a delicious recipe.
Do you vape the same thing all the time, or do you usually change?
Right, so I keep, put it this way, my work pack, I normally take between 3 to 5 mods with me to work, which is probably an overkill for some people. Maybe 1 or 2 might be enough. And then I have to have a little game with myself. Okay, I'll just take these 3 mods into work and leave 2 in the car. Safely out of the sun, of course, for battery safety. But yeah, I have my go-tos, my all-day vapes for sure. Without sounding too self-shilly, my Bite Me has taken place of my strawberry donut, which has been like, my strawberry donut had been a thing for the last 3 years, up until the last 3.5 weeks. And I have literally 400 mils. Yeah. So I have my reliable all-day vapes, but and always have that at least one of the 5 mods or tank setups that I've got on the go at any one time. But I always got something different going on as well, because I'm always wanting to maybe try something different and challenge myself to maybe try something different, you know? Because I don't want to be stuck as always being that, always doing the bakery recipes. I love doing bakeries, but I want to explore further. I want to do some other beverages and outside the box type of stuff, you know?
Right. Now, what is your you did a Mr. Hirschi recipe
Hmm.
that I think the only thing that I'm missing is that the Mullenberry, what is it, cookie bite?
Cookie bite, that's right.
What is that flavor about? What's it
Oh,
like?
it's amazing. In my opinion, texturally, it is the best fresh baked, off the pan cookie mouthfeel in an e-liquid concentrate that has blown my mind. Yeah, it's literally just gone, whoa, wow, why didn't I get that earlier? But I got it when I did, and I think it worked out. It was all sort of serendipity. Um, Look, when you push it higher up above around about 6-7%, you might get a little bit of the chocolate that's promised that's in there, but it's mainly all about that freshly baked cookie and that textural mouthfeel. Now it's like, well, big deal. We've got Flavour our cookie, and there's a few other sort of cookie style concentrates out there. I just say try it first because it's amazing. And also the other thing that I found really, really successful, which isn't successful with all other cookie-based style concentrates, is I find the magic in it is that I can use a bunch of creams and try and layer a bunch of creams with it without losing the textural notes or that mouthfeel of the actual cookie.
So it doesn't get soggy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because separation in flavour for mine is probably one of the hardest things to achieve in DIY. A lot of people think that they've got it, but really a lot of the time we're literally putting stuff in a blender and hoping that we can taste it all, rather than maybe really understanding where the highlights of flavour is that our minds normally go to. Yeah.
Uh, do you think, or can you think of a flavor, a concentrate that we are missing as DIYers that you would like to see somebody make? Like if you could say, if you could call up Bryson over at Flavora and said, "I need you to make this concentrate." Do you have one in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. There's probably a few, but look, the first one that comes to my mind is egg yolk. Now, that might seem a little bit crazy. What? An egg yolk? Oh, who wants to have raw egg, right? Ah, yes, we do want raw egg, not for its own experiences or dares or challenges, but for that textural properties and the flavour property that a good, genuine raw egg has, to be able to throw in different profiles and to be able to egg up that custard a little bit more if it's a little bit dry, just for example. So I think for the textural side of it, as well as the flavour side of it, believe it or not, I think an egg yolk would be very, very handy.
What made you want to start um, DIY Down Under and all that it's grown into? What kind of led you down that path?
Yeah, look, I look at a number of reasons. Look, I was commercial mixing and I wasn't enjoying it, to be honest. I wasn't commercial mixing for a long time, nor did I have some big mega business or anything like that. I was supplying to mainly to basically the largest e-liquid reseller, if you like, in southeast Queensland where I live at the time, and certainly pumping out roughly about 20-25 litres a week. But in that 6 to 8 months solid of production, there was probably the largest chunk of time that was large production time where I was consistently putting out that, along with doing online sales and all that sort of thing. I was losing the fun. I was losing the joy of what mixing was about when I first got into it, when I was first, flavour testing and coming up with recipes and, shaking great big bottles of liquid and, making sure everything's clean and all the funnels and everything everything was pristine and stuff. It all became work. I started this to stop work.
Right. Right.
So yeah, look, so I had in the back of my mind that look, if that didn't work out, I think this would be probably a lot more of a joyful experience, and it has proven to already be. I've got also, this other side of me, when I approach vaping, I soon learned a lot and very quickly because of the community, that there are a few different paths you can kind of go down with vaping. You can go down the path of, I'm just going to have my vape and I'm just going to maybe catch up with an occasional reviewer on YouTube and see what the latest and greatest is and live my life happily ever after and not have to smoke again. Double thumbs up to those who do that. I could be an advocate. I can go and advocate my ass off. I'm going to go and belt down every parliamentarian's doors. And I think that's good, and I think everybody should still do that. And I had a good damn red-hot go at that, and I really, really went hard down the advocacy road, I guess, for a good 6 to 12 months. And, I still advocate when and where I can practicable, and also encourage others to do so. I could become a coil maker, of course, but really I like my fingernails too much and they'll just get in the way. So coil maker's just not being practical. And to be honest, I'm sure if I tried to turn some wire into it wouldn't be an alien coil, it would look like an alien, you know what I mean? It would look insane. So, yeah, look, I understand that side of it. I could have been a box model or that sort of thing. Or I could have had a go at DIY liquor creation. And this is just definitely the most attractive subculture, if I can call it that I found myself really, really absolutely enjoying the most. When I was smoking all those years ago, I remember clearly saying, you know what, if technology ever creates a cigarette where you could taste whatever you wanted, wouldn't that be something? And serious, as sure as I'm sitting here, I remember it was probably 20-odd years ago that I said that. And to now be in that seat where I can literally create anything and not only smoke it and get rid of 95% of the harmful shit, but to actually enjoy something that's heaps better, it's awesome.
Absolutely. How long ago did you start DIY Downunder?
I only started DIY Downunder. I did a little bit of the background probably around December 2017. It sounds like a long time ago when you say it like that. But really I just started getting rolling in January last year. So we've literally only just hit, I think, approximately about a year. I think it'll be about a year next week. So we'll have to do a big hoo-ha for that, won't we? So, yeah, it's only literally been about a year. But certainly I think made a fairly positive impact on the community, it appears, so far. And that's the whole idea too, because, that's one of the reasons also why I started DIY Downunder is, look, the DIY community in general is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome, and still is, make no mistake. But generally across the whole vape community, there can be a little bit, little hashtag vape drama shit here, there, and everywhere, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's like, nah, let's not just have any of that. Let's encourage. Let's actually lift each other up, and let's encourage that culture where people can feel comfortable to help each other out and not be shot down for asking a dumb question. So I just really wanted to be able to create a platform where it's not all about one person's information that we're relying on. It's about everybody's information where we can all basically cooperate and collaborate, lift each other up, no matter what our experience is. And so far, so good. Touch wood.
Absolutely. Has it been more work than you thought it was going to be to get this going?
It's been a lot more work than I expected, I must admit. But it works hard. That's a 4-letter word you're using there, Mike, And it's been a lot more work. It's been a lot of effort sort of driving the wheels behind it, but I think it's all about building the right platform. Because I think if you build the right foundations, then you've got less chances of things sinking or rocking and all those sort of things. So I don't see it as work. I actually really enjoy this, from doing a little bit of photoshopping and doing a sort of funny picture and throwing special guests on a show into bubbles on a picture to, testing, writing notes, doing articles, building websites, all that sort of thing. actually really enjoy that stuff. So I had a little bit of multimedia style of experience before this, and this has been really, really good to be able to collate my skills together and try and hopefully up my game at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, they do say that if you do what you love to do, that you never work another day, because you enjoy doing it, so it doesn't seem like work.
Absolutely, yeah.
And,
and props goes out to, like, without a good admin team, without a good bunch of support, you can do nothing. Without a good member base, without a good bunch of people in it, there's no point in doing it. So, I mean, a big shout out to all the fantastic admin team that have helped me out to bring DIY Down Under to where it is at the moment. And hey, look, we're still young. We're still just a young, little, vibrant, growing group, and just trying to reach out to other DIYs in the community and letting people know that, hey, we're not the only DIYs here. We understand you're not the only DIYs here, but hey, let's lift each other up together and let's make the best of it.
Right. So how does it feel that you had this ideal, you had this vision of a group with, with no drama, everybody working together? You kind of had this dream, if you will. How does it feel to kind of see that come to reality? To just be able to look and say, wow, it's actually working.
Yeah, look, so far it's been an absolute ride. It's been a real buzz. It's those little messages. When somebody you think, oh, I'm going to send them a little message, just let them know what I think. I mean, other than complaining, And, I mean, honestly, I haven't had a complaint. I haven't had somebody say, oh, shit, you should do this or you should do that. Hey, look, I welcome that. I've always made that clear from the start, and I always will in the future. It's those little messages that go, hey, Pip, you are doing a fucking great job. It's about time that somebody did something like this. And those people know who they are who send those messages to me, and yeah, it kind of makes me emotional because I guess I tried to shortcut the ride, so to speak, before starting DIY Down Under. There was an opportunity with an Australian-based DIY group which had basically been abandoned, but there was still 900 plus members there, nearly 1,000 members, and who were thirsty and craving some knowledge on how to do DIY, and they were sort of left behind by the admin team for a good 3-4 months or more. And I had an unusual opportunity to come along and to try and help rescue that group, if you like, or try and help that group. Right. And look, after a couple of weeks, literally only after a couple of weeks, it became apparent that the foundation wasn't right, the spirit wasn't right, setting the right feel for the group wasn't right, and it was never going to work. So to be able to try and create a platform, while it's not perfect and we're always going to have to make changes, it's a lot more rewarding when you basically build the platform, I think, of anything, and you see things working out, But I'm also the sort of person who, if something that doesn't work out, I'm not going to walk away and go, oh, fuck it, it didn't work out, I'll just walk away. I'm a little bit more of a hard-nosed bitch, so to speak, I guess, where I'll say, hey, buck stops with me or our admin team here, and we're all here to help. So let's just get through whatever it is to get through together. And at the end of the day, we're all here to have some fun and to have some fun together and discover e-liquid creation. And let's not make a big thing out of it, because life's too stressful as it is. This is just a fun, creative outlet, and it always will be as long as I'm here.
Right. Now, did you start the YouTube show Mixing With Me Mates the same time as you started the Facebook group, or that come later, right?
Yeah, that came later, absolutely. So basically just got the Facebook group going, started doing a few individual little shows to get things going. I had another YouTube channel, still sitting there, haven't done anything with it for about a year. There's tumbleweeds growing in there, blowing past, and stars and clouds, as I had to call. And I was having some fun building up some experience, of course, on YouTubing and going live and all that sort of thing, and doing some really, really fun shows there in, what was that, 2017. And, yeah, so I started doing a few shows and, yeah, trying to build the platform, as it were, and find out who the audience was for DIY Down Under, and just sort of slowly grow things organically, meet some mates along the journey, and to be able to meet some mates along the journey, to have an admin team to reach out to some mates along their journey as well, because it's not just about me and it's not about them, it's about all of us, all right? So, yeah, eventually to put together Mixing With Me Mates, which I think's now become a bit of a staple on YouTube on a Saturday night there in the USA. I know it's 7 p.m. and in Australia here at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I'm sure there's quite a few Aussie mixers who don't mind waking up with a hangover, rolling over and flicking on to watch a little bit of Mixing With Me Mates as well.
Right, and I don't want to, I believe your all's terminology is I don't want to sound like I'm pissing in your pocket.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, I've been on that show for a while, and I think it's very refreshing that you have, like, you're constantly finding new people or reaching out to people. You've got people from Australia, people from the U.S., people from Wales. Just you've been talking to the guys down in South Africa. I mean, just
That's right. Yeah.
just everybody, that we can all come together with the common theme of we all like to DIY and we like to share knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, and this is nothing against either one of these people, but like I would have never known Steven Stewart or Aaron without your show, or Tammy for that matter. I mean, I wouldn't have known any of those people. And Aaron lives probably 2.5 hours away from me.
That's awesome.
And I'd have never known that. But I like that you take somebody that's trying to do the right thing. They're trying to put stuff out there to help other people and to learn. And you just kind of give them a pedestal. You just kind of hold them up a little bit. You're not like pushy about it. You make people feel comfortable. And I like that. I mean, my channel has grown a lot just from being on your show. Right now, I was looking the other day, 25% of my views come from Australia.
Oh, that's awesome. That is really good. Yeah, I think DIY is a massive growing concern here in Australia. Look, we've been probably DIYing more than anyone and anywhere in the world because, of course, we're forced to mix with a bit of extra PG as we legally add our nicotine, because we only legally add our nicotine only where where it is legal too. Of course, for those who do. Not everybody does. So, but yeah, thank you. It really is lovely to hear that. But see, that's the whole idea. It is about lifting others up at all levels. You know, it's not like, oh, look at us, we're on YouTube, we've got an admin team and we're better. No, we encourage anyone who wants to put out some DIY content, whether it be a flavour note, whether it be getting up and going live. Hell, if somebody wanted to go live on my channel, well, so I won't even say my channel. I say that with absolute reluctance. I'll say our channel. Let's get in touch. Let's talk, you know. If someone wants to post something on Instagram. Because, see, the DIY Down Under symbol isn't a Pippa Starr face, right? It's not a face of Mary Beth. It's not a face of Tam or any one or particular member of the admin team or members of DIY. It symbolises everyone as a full group, as a cooperative, and together let's discover. And there's quite actually a lot of thought, as cornball as it is, and we have a little bit of fun with it at the end of each show. It really is about, together. That we're not going to always have all the best knowledge. It's not about an us versus them thing in any community, let alone DIY, in my opinion. That it's just about sharing and exchanging information, and the best information we can get our hands on, so we can help out our mates and lift each other up a bit. And whether that mean maybe catching a few people that might be just starting out on YouTube for a little bit, and bringing them over and saying, hey, come over, we're having a little bit of fun, and try and lift up your channel as well at the same time. If it does, that's great. If it doesn't, well, hey, at least we've had a little bit of fun trying, Right. And hey, we're just a new channel as well. I mean, God, I haven't even hit 500 subscribers yet.
Yeah, and I think that's one great thing about the community, the vaping community in general, is it, for the most part, it is a group of people working together to help each other. Whereas these days, I don't know how it is in Australia, but over here, we've kind of gone to, it's all about me. I'm doing this for me. This is for me. It's about me. If it doesn't help you or if it hurts you, sorry about it. This is what I want to do. And this community is, for the most part, totally opposite of that.
Yeah.
I think that makes it really refreshing just to be a part of that.
Well, that's awesome. And that's good, because we're in a world of selfies. I think sometimes it's good to take a little holiday away from the selfie world and understand that there's more in the world than ourselves at times, and having some bit of fun. Let's take ourselves out of that world for a moment, because I think that's that's a holiday mode as well.
All right. Okay. So we can call 2018 a success. You got anything new planned for 2019 that you can talk about? I mean, just like where would you like to see the group go and the show and all that?
Yeah, look, it's going to be more emphasis on the together, right? Rather than, let's compete against each other. So we've got some up and coming new challenges, I say them with plural, which are going to actually put people on an even footing, whether you've only been mixing for a day or a week, or whether you've been mixing for 10 years. And there are people out there who have been mixing for 10 years. I discovered one the other day who'd been mixing for 10 years. And you'll put them on an equal footing with these challenges to be able to contribute, work together to make an amazing profile. So that's just one thing we've got organised. More than likely it's going to roll out on a monthly basis, and we'll be able to pump out a fantastic recipe every month. We've got other challenges which are going to encourage people to basically review each other in a positive way. That'll be done a little bit differently than what you might first expect, not just this normal standard review. So we're certainly encouraging people to mix other people's mixes and give some feedback and just integrate together just a little bit more. We're also looking at discovering heaps more concentrates, and I mean heaps more concentrates. I don't know if you noticed just behind me, we've got 102 flavour concentrates here from Wonder Flavours, and a list that's obviously probably going to keep growing through 2019 with that company alone. Let alone we've got Mullenberry one-shots, other further Mullenberry new flavours. We've got Flavora sending some flavours my way shortly as well. We've got this growing database of information which we encourage everybody to contribute with. It's not just me, and it's not just about Mary Beth or anyone else you might particularly see at the forefront. We give everybody else the opportunity to say, hey, come to the forefront, make a little video, we can pop it up too, make a flavour note. And so that's what we've got more of coming in 2019, more information, a beautifully laid out, collated database of information in the form of podcasts, videos, flavour notes, and all this sort of easy to find sort of stuff via our website. And and lots more. So the foundation's mainly been built. It won't be as tiring as 2018. I think it's time to, ride the wave a little.
Was just how the hell do you do everything that you do? I mean, you work a job, you do the shows, you've got the website, you edit all the videos. Just how do you find time to do all that? And then I'll add on to that question: what's your drive to do all of that? How? Because I know, okay. For instance, now it is summertime in Australia.
That's right.
It's very hot in the room that you're in right now. But you
It
sit
is.
there with a smile on your face and you're eager to go. Just there's got to be days that you just want to say the hell with this. I don't want to do it. What pushes you through that?
Look, of course, I'm human. And yes, there are days where you just think, oh, I just need a day or two out and I need a bit of a rest and all that sort of thing. And I give myself that. Make no mistake, I'll give myself that. Oh, sometimes I'll just go missing for a day or two. And that's because obviously you just need a refresh. But the drive is, ultimately, here's the drive. When I was talking about all the different facets or the subcultures I could go into, whether it be mod making, core making, all that sort of stuff that you could go into, vape reviewing and all that sort of thing, or just, advocating and all that sort of thing. It was DIY that got me excited, but more importantly, it was the easiest way for me to advocate, ironically. So it's not like I've ever walked away from advocacy. See, this is my way that I can ensure that I can do my best with the skills and attributes that I have to ensure that the 1,200 and whatever plus growing members in our little DIY Facebook group, for example, have got an interest, something that captivates them and holds them to something that's alternative to smoking, that's at least 95% safer. Because without that being something that's a form of community and a form of support or something that you can lean to, that was never there when you wanted to stop smoking. Well, there is here now, because when you didn't have anything to lean to, when you stopped smoking, you tried to go cold turkey for a week. Normally within that week, there'd be something that set you off, and there was no community, there was no lean to, there was no hobby or desire or excitement to lean back to. So ultimately, to answer that accurately, this is my best way to try and do my little bit to keep at least 1,200 plus members and more, hopefully, as we keep on growing forward, to help keep them off the damn stinkies. So yeah, that's what keeps driving me.
You brought it up a couple times now, and I wanted to bring it up. On the advocacy front,
Right.
who should be advocating and why should we be advocating?
Okay, I think everybody should be advocating, but I think we've got to be careful not to just preach to the choir. In other words, we don't want to be, we can pump each other up and tell each other the best things to possibly say in every given situation that we might be shot down about why we vape, and every time somebody comes up and says, it's worse than smoking, don't you? And you sort of say, hey, well, what, did you see it on the news? Well, everything's true on the news, right? Everybody should be advocating. See, it's those people who don't know. And those who don't know the most are people who've never smoked, who've never vaped. Those people are the people who need to understand. See, unfortunately, those people are quite often the people who make the decisions for us, whether we like it or not. Quite often they're the ones who are parliamentarians. They're the ones who are voting on bills to ban smoking. Well, not only ban smoking, but ban vaping, which is even worse because it's a proven 95% safer alternative. Not by me, not by anyone in the community, by the Royal College of Physicians. And a lot of people want to poo-poo the Royal College of Physicians, and a lot of people fail to point out that that was the first institute back in the early 60s that gone, hey guys, we're officially saying on paper, we're officially saying, by one of the most respected medical fraternities in the world, that smoking is fucking bad for you. And it was only their action that prevented inaction by the US of A to act and start putting warnings on cigarette packets and start going, hey, yeah, smoking's actually unhealthy. Before then, you saw them, doctors smoking Camels and all sorts of absurd behaviour. There you got me started. So, yeah, people should just advocate. I guess my point is not just to the choir, but to those people who don't know anything about vaping, it's just as important. So that as a community, we can have a culture that actually understands that we're not all about blowing clouds, you know, doing fancy tricks and being super cool and hip with their mates or whatever. It's not all about that. Or, you know, showing off on YouTube shows or anything like that. We're here because of a sense of community. And I think that that's worth more than anything because, you know, alcoholics can have Alcoholics Anonymous, and that is awesome. All sorts of drug rehabilitation schemes can have support groups and all that sort of things. Hey, this is our support group for smokers because nobody else wants to respect the fact that vaping is safer than smoking in the greater community and the lawmakers right now, not only down here in Australia but also in the USA. So I think, sorry for a long-winded answer, it is the people who least know stuff about vaping that is the ones we should be advocating to, and not allowing people to standardise their replies. So, for example, when we write to our parliamentarians down under here in Australia, our parliamentarians have a standard letter. Dear Jill, dear John, we've already got the standard letter, copy, paste, boom. You know what? Every time you get one of those standard ones back, send the next letter with the copy of the next letter you got from another parliamentarian and the next one. So they've got a collection of standardised letters back, and let them know on the top of that letter you don't want a standardised letter. You want a real response or like a real meeting so you can sort of sit down and have a chat. And, I mean, that's a big thing for a lot of people to do, and why should you even take 5 minutes out of your day? Because 50 people die here in Australia from smoking. 50 people a day. We wouldn't tolerate that on any other thing, right? That's like 350 people a week. That's like a plane falling out of the sky every week. If a plane fell out of the sky every week in the US, where the problem is like 10 times higher than it is here in Australia, I know you guys wouldn't tolerate it either. But we should be, you know, there'd be people marching in the streets and there'd be a revolution. But hey, it's just people who are smoking. So that's why it's more important that the people who don't understand much about vaping get a chance to learn more about the reduced harms of vaping and just actually how positive it has been. Because I know for one, there is no way I would be as healthy as I am now, as energetic to be able to do all of what I do in a day somehow, that there's no way I'd have that energy to even run a DIY down under and I'd not stop smoking or an equivalent type of community platform.
Right.
All right, so I'll stop gabbling.
Absolutely. I wanted to say, too, you know, I think a lot of times when people hear advocacy, the next thing that they're expecting to hear is, we need money. Okay. Now, while money is definitely a part of it, obviously everybody can't afford to give money. I mean, there's people that live week to week everywhere. But there's a lot of things that people can do. I mean, like you're saying, they can send an email. They can make a phone call. They can take the time to talk to people on the street when they ask about vaping.
Exactly.
And I think it's stuff like that that people don't realize can make a small difference, that if more people start doing it, turns into a bigger difference.
Yeah, see, look, big money can buy big advertising campaigns and all sorts of stuff like that, which we're getting smashed at anyway. And the governments have got more money than we can ever dream of as a community, let alone individually or collectively. And that's why, yeah, it is more important than money. Well, you know, money and financial help is important to sometimes help those certain sections of the community who happen to be able to get in under the nose of some influential people who might be able to hopefully make some influential change, like the New Nicotine Alliance does here in Australia, like legalisevaping.com.au does here in Australia. Yeah, that conversation, that conversation, not only with that person who's looking to stop smoking as you're in the smokers area or whatever, and does vaping work and is it just as bad as smoking, being able to answer those questions, but also when you're at the family event, you know, where, you know, Auntie Eileen has never smoked a cigarette in her life and she just looks at you and thinks you're fucking weird because you're blowing great big clouds out in your mouth. It is just as important to have that conversation with your auntie or whoever is around you in a social type of setting where it's comfortable to have those conversations, to let them know that, hey, you know, this is actually life-saving technology. You know, that's all. I mean, I think if we all collectively did that, we all did our little bit, then it's a culture shift, right? Because people aren't going to accept bullshit. We do accept a lot of bullshit on the news, but I think if we're sensible about our conversation, we're not argumentative about our conversation, act defensive, if we're comfortable with the information that we've got on hand, and we can gently make hopefully some sort of a change here before it's too late.
Right.
Will be a revolt, I think. We'll all be out in the streets and be probably, unfortunately, a bit more than bloody placards. Not that I want to threaten, make any threats towards any institution or government, but hey, there are lives at stake here. That's the main point.
Absolutely. An animal from the U.S., what animal would you be?
Oh shit, here's the tide turning. Now this comes from a place because I asked that question to a bunch of guys from the States and girls, I think, as well. Oh god, what is there over there? Would I be a grizzly bear? Yeah, of course I would. I think I'd be one of them grizzly bears, not one of the Canadian bears, because the Canadian bears go, oh hello, no problem, you go this way, I don't harm you until after dark, then I come and I eat you while you're camping. But I think the grizzly bear, I think that and quite honestly, I think it kind of reflects me a little bit, because sometimes people might be scared by my, you know, my personality maybe being a little bit out there at times. But, you know, really, deep down, I am just that big oversized cuddly toy. That's the best I've got.
Nope, that works. Somebody else asked, what's the most Australian thing to ever come out of your mouth?
Oh, cool. Well, you call her up a gum tree fair. I think I might don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Meat pies holding cars, what the, you know. Dilly gaff. Do I look like a really good...
What's the most Australian thing to ever come out of your mouth?
Oh, cool. Well, you call her up a gum tree fair. I think I might don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Meat pies holding cars, what the, you know. Dilly gaff. Do I look like a really good... Anyway, yeah, I guess that's kind of being fair income Australian. Look, I have lived on this continent for 40 plus years. I won't give my exact age away right now, but for 40 plus years, I've only diverted off this continent a couple of times in my life. There's nothing more fair income Aussie than me.
Somebody else asked me, and they wanted me to compliment you on all your video editing and all the stuff that you do. They love every bit of it, but they still want you to do a little bit more. They want to know if you could. They wanted to know if you could please make a video on how to stream from Zoom to YouTube.
Right, cool, no problem at all. Again, probably the easiest way to do that is to contact me personally, and we'll organise some time and make that happen. Look, I could do a video about it. Sometimes you need that personal connection. Sometimes it's easier to do it together. That way we can discover.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. I seen a post on Facebook, I believe, the other day, where somebody had said, I've got all my supplies to DIY. I've got my VG, my PG, my nicotine. I've got concentrates. I've got bottles. I've got a scale. But now I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know where to start. What would you tell
Right.
somebody like that they're just looking for advice? Where do they start?
Look, where to start is think about what appeals to you. Chances are you've already had a vape liquid, right? You've already tried a vape liquid somewhere. And you're either in the DIY for a number of reasons. Generally because you can't stand the commercial e-liquid that you're already on, so you want to see if you can be able to hopefully get hold of something better and something that tastes better. More than likely, though, you're a tight ass. Don't worry, I'm a tight ass too. And I don't like spending any more money than I have to. But funny enough, I've gone down the rabbit hole and probably spent just as much. Nonetheless, you want to make something economical and enjoyable to have every day. The best way possibly to do that would be to have a look at some of the more highly rated recipes on eliquidrecipes.com. Have a look at some of the flavours in there. See if there's something that appeals to you. Have a look at and hit that ratings button on ELR or eliquidrecipes.com and try a few of them that are flavours or profiles, recipes that seem like something you would like to give a try. Try getting those concentrates. See how they go. Check out maybe some of the proven known flavour packs. Now, flavour pack, generally, there's some over there, I think, in Bull City Flavours over there in the States, and here at flavorworld.com.au, where you can get a pack of concentrates that make up a recipe. So you don't have to use up all those concentrates. It makes up the recipe, and then you've got some concentrate left, which you can be creative after you've tasted it and gotten to know those flavours a little bit more. They're a really awesome way to get started and also help build your stash and understand some of the flavours as you go. So, yeah, I'd say try other people's recipes basically a bit to get started. Maybe some tried and proven and tested, and they won't be listed on Bull City Flavours or flavorworld.com.au if they're not tried, true, and tested first. They'll always be fairly good. If it sounds good, give something like that a go. Look, there's a lot of one-shot concentrates now. Look, honestly, as easy as they are, and you just want an easy out, one-shots are going to become a lot bigger thing in 2019. Huge growing market. And what a one-shot basically is, it's your cordial. In other words, you've got your concentrate, which is basically your PG, part of your PG base, right? To say it's 10%, so it'll say the recommended percentages there. Add your 10% extra PG for argument's sake, makes you up a total of 20% PG. If you like a max VG mix, you might make it 80-20. If you like blowing big clouds, otherwise adjusted. Keeping it simple with one-shots or flavour concentrate packs, that way you can build your knowledge base at the same time. I hope that would help somebody who might want that question answered.
Yeah, that's
Also, involve yourself in platforms that aren't going to shoot you down when you get asked a basic question. Don't feel afraid. You don't want to involve yourself in DIY groups that, how should I use a syringe or scales or basic questions like that. What's the right VG? What's the wrong VG to use? I can guarantee you, if you ask the basic of questions, however basic or stupid you think it might be, in DIY Down Under, we're not going to shoot you down. We're going to lift you up and we're going to help you out.
do you have any recipes of yours that you would suggest people to go mix to figure out a little more about who Pippa is?
Yeah, look, probably a couple. One you've already mentioned, but one that I've mentioned a lot in the past, but maybe in newer people to DIY, I think could probably get a bit out of it. and it's called OU Tart. And the reason why I mention that, not because it's got a hilarious name and it says a little bit about my nature, but OU Tart I made to really challenge myself in DIY. And what particular challenge was I setting myself was the challenge to mix not only what was probably seen as the best DIY mix profile on the planet at that particular time, which was Darren Cole. And Darren Cole, or Daz Cole, as he's known around in mixing circles, is definitely one of the best mixers still on the planet, make no mistake. And if you're looking for a divine one-shot, he's paying me nothing to say this. Go and get yourself a divine one-shot at chefs.co.uk, chefsflavors.co.uk. But he had a remix of lemon, the Dinner Lady lemon tart at the time. And I'm like, he's still using Flavour West lemon meringue pie. And any of the lemon meringue pie profiles, because God, who doesn't like lemon meringue pie, right? It's beautiful. Let alone in a vape, you can enjoy it without all the calories. Awesome. Where I really wanted to challenge myself in that profile was creating a lemon meringue pie without using a lemon meringue pie concentrate. I broke down all those nuances of flavours that I could taste, that I could get to feel the texture of. And I thought about all those concentrates and how different concentrates would work with each other and layered them in such a way that I felt that that was at least my ultimate lemon meringue pie. So I think it's a good recipe to think about when you're also trying new concentrates and thinking, well, what else could I, out of my other concentrates that I've dabbled with before, how can I make my super concentrate, how can I make my lemon meringue pie one shot, or your jam donut, or whatever you like out of those concentrates, rather than just using that one shot concentrate? And how to make it your way. What, do you like the lemon a little bit sweeter? Do you like the cream a little bit creamier? Do you like a little bit more with a bit more depth of vanilla, or whatever your case might be? So OU Tart is really, really kind of good for that, because it shows off a little bit of fruit, it shows off a little bit of bakery texture, it shows off a little bit of creams, and while it's a little bit of a lengthy recipe, I think it's a good learning curve for anyone I know who has mixed it. They've always given me some very, very good positive feedback in that regard. So worth a look. Look, Merry Christmas to Mr. Hirschi's. I can say hand on heart is my best. It's my best recipe yet. It's a combination of my experiences on layering and texture and flavour separation, if you like, so which isn't a real thing. It's actually just learning how we understand texture and flavour and how to differentiate that in such a way that we can have this beautiful illusion like we've got this chocolate cream pie going on in your mouth at once. So yeah, very, very proud of that, because that sort of just showed a lot of what I've achieved so far, and I hope I can achieve a lot more, and no doubt I will as more concentrates become available.
So, Pippa, where can people find you?
Look, obviously people can find me on everywhere around the DIY Down Under platform. Started DIYdownunder.com and hit on the enter button as long as you're over 18 and you're willing to give DIY at least a look. And maybe, who knows, have a go at mixing your own recipe, and have a look. And when you hit enter, it's going to take you through to the splash. So the splash page essentially is the splash page of where everywhere else you'll find us, from the very, very top of the page, whether you're on a mobile phone or on your home PC. You'll be able to see that we've got links up there to Instagram, to our Discord, to our YouTube, to our Facebook page. And yeah, so we're everywhere, and we're always just trying to make things easy there, so that way people can get their hands on content and find out more about what we're doing. If you need to personally message me for any reason, probably the best platform to do it on is Facebook, and that's how you get in contact with me, or via the contact page on DIYdownunder.com.
And your mixing name is?
These days, yes, still Stars and Clouds. So actually, I'm known as DIY Down Under Pippa on eliquidrecipes.com, and on all the flavors, I'm still Stars and Clouds. That might change to DIY Down Under Pippa. So, yeah.
All right. Well, again, Pippa, I thank you for sitting down and talking. And anything else that you want to say before we get out of here?
Look, other than in 3, 2, 1, together. Oh, is this the wrong show for that?
No, we're good.
Discover.
Start it again and we'll do it. Because there's only 2 of us.
Yeah, this is true, but it takes 2 to do it together, right?
Correct.
And it's all about having fun and enjoying the moment and being in that moment and learning something from a new experience. And that's why it's been awesome to hang out with you, Mike, as it always is. And an honour for me, for little me, to have me on your show. And 2, 1, together, let's discover.
Well, that wasn't bad. All right. Thanks again, Pippa.
It's all right.